Oscar Piastri, once the silent storm of McLaren, suddenly looks human. The data doesn't lie, something in his driving rhythm no longer matches the car. Behind closed doors, McLaren's engineers admit it, the MCL39 has evolved faster than Piastri's driving style. But here's the twist: what looks like a flaw might just forge his next evolution as a champion. Out on track, the MCL39 looked planted, obedient, almost graceful. Piastri's inputs were as clean as glass: smooth braking, precise rotation, seamless acceleration. The car flowed through the corners with elegance, but something felt wrong. "He's neat," said one engineer, eyes on the telemetry, "but we're missing pace." Another frowned. "It's too tidy. He's giving the car exactly what he wants, not what it needs." From the pit wall, Andrea Stella watched quietly. He'd seen it before, the moment when a driver becomes too good for the chaos the car demands. The radio crackled. "Oscar, you're 3/10 off Lando in Sector 1. His response came instantly, calm and clipped. "Copy. I'll clean it up." But that was the problem: there was nothing left to clean. The data told the truth in brutal honesty. Where Norris was forcing the car to rotate, dancing with oversteer and playing with the limit, Piastri was managing it, guiding it, almost taming it. "He's losing the fight against grip by trying to control it," Stella muttered under his breath. The phrase stuck because it was true. Lap after lap, the pattern repeated. The onboard footage showed no mistakes. Every corner was geometrically perfect. Every exit line identical. Yet the stopwatch refused to yield. "He's missing heat in the fronts," the tire engineer said. "He's too gentle on entry, they're never switching on." The words hit like a revelation. Piastri wasn't slow, his precision was freezing the car out of its performance window. The more perfect he became, the more the McLaren rejected him. When the session ended, Piastri rolled into the garage, visor still down. The car stopped. Silence. Then, through the headset, "Oscar, we've got everything we need." He removed his helmet slowly, eyes scanning the monitor in front of him. "It's strange," he said softly. "It feels like I'm doing everything right, but the car isn't responding." Stella looked at him. "That's because the car has changed," he said. "It doesn't want to be driven right. It wants to be driven hard." On the screen, two colored traces appeared: Piastri in orange, Norris in blue. The contrast was subtle but damning. "There," said Stella, tapping the screen. "That's Oscar's braking input. Look at the release: smooth, progressive, textbook." He switched to Norris's. "Now look here. Sharp entry, partial lock, front tires fighting. It looks messy, but he rotates faster." The room fell silent. Everyone could see it: Norris's chaos was working. Piastri's elegance wasn't. Stella turned to his lead engineer. "The car rewards aggression now. Oscar's precision is actually slowing him down." When Piastri entered the room, helmet bag still slung over his shoulder, the engineers fell quiet. He walked straight to the monitor, scanning the graphs. "You found something," he said. "We have," Stella replied carefully. "The car's different since the latest update. The new aero package, especially the rear floor and suspension, changed how it behaves under load. Lando's using it. You're not." Oscar frowned slightly. "So it's not set up?" "No," Stella said. "It's style." He played the onboard side by side. Norris's McLaren squirmed through the corners, dancing between understeer and grip. Piastri's car glided stable, predictable, almost clinical. "You're too smooth," Stella said. "Your braking is beautiful, your steering inputs are balanced, your throttle modulation is perfect, and that's the problem. The car wants to be bullied. You're treating it like an instrument. It needs to be treated like a fight." Oscar crossed his arms, eyes still fixed on the screen. "So perfection's my flaw," he said, half to himself. "In this car, yes," Stella replied gently. "Perfection costs time." There was no frustration in his tone, just quiet understanding. Piastri had been built on precision. Every championship in his junior career had rewarded that trait. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't emotional. He was controlled. That discipline had made him formidable, but now, it was out of sync with evolution. Formula One had shifted under his feet, and for the first time, control wasn't enough. Stella turned off the display. "We can fix setup, we can fix balance," he said, "but you can't simulate aggression. You have to feel it." Piastri didn't argue. He didn't make excuses. He just asked, "How much time am I losing?" The answer came from the corner of the room, one of the performance analysts, hesitant but honest. 3 to 4 tenths a lap, he said. Piastri nodded once. "Okay," he said quietly. "Then I know what I need to do." Stella studied him for a moment. "You're taking this well." "It's not personal," Oscar replied. "It's data. And data doesn't lie." The way he said it was calm, detached, but underneath the calm was something else. Resolve. When the meeting ended, Piastri lingered behind. The engineers left, one by one, until only Stella remained. The two stood in silence, watching the empty telemetry screen flicker in standby mode. "It's strange, isn't it?" Oscar said finally. "You spend your whole life learning to drive cleanly, and then the car tells you to forget all of it." Stella smiled faintly. "That's Formula One," he said. "You evolve, or you get left behind." Piastri turned to him, his expression sharp, focused. "Then let's evolve." That night, when most of the factory lights were off, Piastri returned to the simulator alone. No engineers. No cameras. Just the whine of hydraulics and the hum of the motors. He loaded the Mexico circuit again and stared at turn for the corner that had started it all. He braked later. Harder. The car twitched. He caught it. Again. Again. The telemetry line spiked with tiny imperfections, jagged, alive. For the first time, his driving wasn't clean. But it was fast. And somewhere in the darkness of the simulator bay, Oscar Piastri smiled. The simulator room at McLaren's Woking headquarters was colder than usual, the kind of chill that makes concentration feel sharper. Every screen glowed with telemetry data, traces of acceleration, braking, and rotation plotted like the rhythm of a heartbeat. It was here that Oscar Piastri would unlearn everything he'd been taught about driving clean. He didn't approach it with fear or frustration. He approached it like an engineer. The calm in his voice that morning said it all. "Let's see what happens when we break my own rules." Andrea Stella watched from behind the glass partition as Piastri climbed into the simulator. "Load the Mexico setup," he told his team. The engineers adjusted parameters, rear suspension softened, brake migration altered, hybrid recovery made more aggressive. "We're exaggerating the instability," said one of them. "If he's going to adapt, he needs to feel what the car wants." On the monitor, Piastri's digital McLaren came to life. The first laps were wild. Tires squealed, the rear stepped out violently, and the car snapped through corners like it was trying to throw him off. "That's it," Stella said quietly. "Let him fight it." Inside the cockpit, Piastri's focus was absolute. His inputs, once smooth and deliberate, were now sharper stabs of throttle, quick corrections, measured chaos. "You're braking too deep," his engineer warned. "Copy," Piastri replied, lifting only slightly. Lap after lap, the data changed. The brake pressure trace, once a perfect curve, became jagged. Steering angles spiked. Throttle modulation turned unpredictable. And the stopwatch dropped. "He's gaining 3/10 in the entry," one engineer said. "He's forcing the rotation instead of waiting for it." They ran side-by-side comparisons with Norris's data. "You see this?" the engineer said, zooming into turn 6. "Your input timing's now within a tenth of Lando's. But you're smoother mid-corner. That's good, it means you're finding your own version of aggression." Piastri smiled faintly under the simulator's dim lights. "So chaos with control," he said. "Exactly," the engineer replied. "We call it controlled aggression, ugly in data, beautiful in lap time." It was a phrase that would become part of McLaren's new language. For hours, Piastri and the engineering team worked through setups, tire temperatures, differential maps, micro-adjustments measured in milliseconds and millimeters. What made Oscar different wasn't just his adaptability, it was how he processed information. He wasn't reacting emotionally. He was cataloging sensations like data points. That oversteer at turn 9, he said mid-session, comes from hybrid torque misalignment. Can we smooth the torque phase on reapplication? The engineer paused, surprised. Exactly what I was about to say, he replied. Stella turned to his assistant. He's not driving, he's diagnosing. By the end of the day, the telemetry told a new story. The smooth, elegant lines that once defined Piastri's driving were gone. In their place, a pattern of deliberate imperfections, sharper brake releases, micro-corrections, aggressive throttle flicks, all perfectly timed, all under control. That's a different driver, said one data analyst. No, Stella replied. That's evolution. When the session ended, Piastri removed his gloves and studied the graphs. This looks ugly, he said. It's supposed to, Stella smiled. That's what fast looks like in 2025. The next morning, McLaren's analysis team ran simulations comparing his new technique to his old one. The results were shocking. On average, he was half a second faster per lap. He's matching Norris's peak pace now, said the lead performance engineer. And he's doing it with less tire degradation. Stella nodded slowly. He's blending two worlds, efficiency and aggression. That's something even seasoned champions struggle to master.